This is Binding of Isaac. It is a hybrid roguelike real-time arcade game. Uh, as you can see here, I've already unlocked all the characters. I'm going to be using Isaac, which is the original character. However, normally, or rather at the start of the game, he doesn't start off with his spacebar item. But you see there is that six-sided die. It's something you have to unlock later, and we'll get to what that does in a little bit. But as you can see, when you first start off, you pretty much just run around and shoot tears at enemies. Uh, you don't have much right now, but you will get a lot. Now, if you notice this little dark rock in that previous room that had a cross on it, that you can blow those up and get items. And now here's what the six-sided die does. This actually lets you re-roll an item pickup. Now, the first item was the hourglass, which basically slows enemies down when you use it. It's a spacebar item. I don't really like it, that's why I changed it. The one that got changed to was the picking chairs, which is pretty good actually. It's another spacebar item, which will cut off your head, and it allows you to fly for one room. I believe it also speeds you up. So when you're flying, you can go over spikes, rocks, pits, that sort of thing. But right now, I didn't want to pick that up, because if I did, you can only have one spacebar at a time, and I would have to get rid of the six-sided die, which is pretty good, so I'm going to keep it for now. And here, it looks like I am wasting a bomb for no reason, but actually I'm looking for the secret room. Every level has one secret room. In it you can find money, slot machines, item pickups, that sort of thing, so it's generally worth finding. Although this particular run, you'll see I have a bit of trouble finding it on every level. So here's the first boss. Every level has a boss, and the bosses you fight are random. Each area, which this is the first area, which is the basement, has a pool of bosses you can face, and of course you'll randomly choose it. So this is one of the first ones you'll find. It's called the Duke of Flies. He's pretty easy. He's got just a big bag of flies. Occasionally he'll shoot out normal-sized flies, and you might have noticed a couple of the flies are bigger and slower. They do more damage, but overall, he's not too hard. It's more annoying than anything else just because the flies usually block your shots. You notice I did get hit, but you'll see that a lot because I kind of suck. Just fair warning. So, not much more to say about this other than it's a pretty slow start so far. Normally, you would have hopefully found something useful, but I haven't found anything yet. You may have also noticed on the minimap there is a room I didn't go to, which has a coin symbol on it. That's up to the shop. You need to use a key to get into it. And I only have one, so I'm not going to waste it right now, because with only 2 coins, I actually don't have enough to buy anything. But normally you can find extra hearts, or not extra hearts, but healing hearts, keys, bombs, and also item pickups. And they're usually pretty useful, but it's not a good idea to waste a key unless you can actually use it. And now we'll also see a new enemy there, which is that little white fly. And he is a bit harder than normal flies, and he shoots little projectiles at you, but overall nothing too bad. And that dog food I picked up, that is a health increase item. So now I have 4 max hearts instead of 3. And I'm coming back to this room to see if I can change to something useful. And that is Brother Bobby. He's actually one of your familiars. He'll fly around beside you, and as you can see, he shoots whenever you shoot. Or, not exactly the same speed you do, but when you're shooting, he'll shoot. It's just a nice way to boost your damage. I forget if he can block shots. I don't think he does. And so that was it for Basement 1. It's pretty short. Now we'll do Basement 2. And, in between, so we can see there's a little vignette of some nightmare Isaac's had in the past, or maybe something that's bad that's happened to him. These enemies, those guys are pretty simple. They just chase you. Nothing too hard here. If you notice up there, there's a green one, which is bigger. Occasionally you'll run into, I guess, champion-type monsters, you might want to call them. They'll be bigger and different color. They'll also be stronger. And then when you kill them, they usually drop something like money, sometimes a key or a bomb, and rarely you'll get them to drop chests. Let's see, right there, he dropped a single coin. Oh, also you may have noticed I've been blowing or destroying piles of poop and fire as I find them. That's because very rarely they might drop a coin or sometimes even a key. So it's worth if you just using a few seconds to knock them out whenever you find them. So for rocks, you can actually destroy those. They take bombs to destroy, and since I'm short on bombs, I'm not going to be wasting any destroying them. Normally, there's not much of a point unless you need to get to something on the other side, but there is a small chance when destroying a rock that you might actually find a special item. It's called a small rock, and it will increase your damage. Now, since we haven't actually... Oh, that... so those two items we just saw. The first one was Book of Seven Deadly Sins, which is another spacebar item. It's okay. It'll, not that great. What it does is it will spawn a random pickup, so like a bomb or key, things like sometimes hearts. I don't really want to get rid of this excited guy though. And then the next one was, I think, Monster's Tooth. That one just summons one of the bosses you can find to attack enemies on the screen for like a second or so, and then he disappears. It's okay, but again, nothing too great. Right now I'm mainly looking for actual pickups. We haven't found any other than Brother Bobby so far and the dog food, but normally when you do, you'll see Isaac's look change. You'll see this a bit later in the video. But one of my favorite things about the game, besides just all the crazy pickups, is how they make him look. You can get some really kind of dark, messed up looks with Isaac. It's pretty funny. And here you may have noticed I'm moving sideways while shooting vertically, which causes my shots to go diagonally. It's just a technique you'll have to use if you want to avoid getting damaged. Here, you might want to notice is the leapers. If they touch the fire, they get set on fire and become a stronger version of themselves. So generally, in a room with leapers, you'll want to destroy the fires as soon as you can, so they don't set themselves on fire. And finally, we actually have a decent amount of bombs. Normally, you'll find in this game, the first couple of levels, you're usually having to miss items or leave rooms locked because you don't have enough keys and bombs. So now that we actually have enough, well, normally it would work out well. Here we're going to see me waste a lot because while I'm searching for the secret room, there you can see that rock we destroyed. We'll drop stuff, sometimes be a chest. Those silver hearts are armor, or soul hearts as they're called, and they just give you temporary life boosts. So those will be used up before in all hearts. And back in the item room, I used the die again to just try to get another pickup, and there was what's called, I think, the Pretty Fly. I left it there because it's really not that good. It just flies around you and will absorb shots if one hits it. And I believe they actually do slight damage to enemies if it touches an enemy, but not that great. You can find them from slot machines, so not really worth it. And that I just picked up now is a pill. Pills, if you're familiar with roguelikes, are usually similar to the potions you'll find in those games, in that you don't know what they do because it's the different pills are randomized every game, so you can't just tell by its look what it does. And that one was a full health pill, which is, well, pretty self-explanatory, so what it does. Here is a mini boss. There are, besides the normal bosses, there are the 7 Deadly Sins, Sloth, Lust, Greed, etc. They're generally pretty easy. Most of the time you can beat them without even getting hurt. Occasionally they'll drop good items, but mainly just little pickups like that. What I got there was a tarot card. They're similar to scrolls in most roguelikes in that you know what they do. So that's the difference between them and the pills, is they're the same every game. So this one, the Lovers, actually spawns 2 healing hearts. It can be handy if you're going to die otherwise, but not one of the better cards. And this is actually Monstro. We saw his tooth earlier. Now normally, when you first start the game, you actually... most of the items are locked, and you have to do certain things to unlock them. So, the first time you beat Monstro, you unlock his tooth, and after that, you can actually find it in the dungeon. There's another HP up item. Here is the Devil Room. Basically, you can trade maximum life for items. He will randomly appear after bosses. If you don't get hurt, you have a better chance of seeing him. There's a few other things that affect it too. And there, I decided to sacrifice 2 max life for the Pact. which makes me stronger. And as you notice, they've also changed the way I look. Here again, I'm looking for the secret room. Normally, the secret room's pretty easy to find. If you notice, there are black spaces in the minimap which are surrounded by multiple rooms, and that's always where a secret room is. Now, usually there's only a couple locations where it could be early on. Here, as you noticed, there are a bunch of spaces that have 2 rooms next to them. Usually the secret room has 3 rooms around it, but no rooms have 3 rooms around it here. So it's in one of these spaces with 2. Unfortunately, I wasted all my bombs trying to find it and didn't find it. So we have to leave without being able to go into it. And what I just found there was the quarter. It just gives you 25 coins, which is pretty useful for shops and stuff, but I don't have a key, so I have to skip the shop too. So far it's been pretty slow on pickups for this game, having to skip a lot of items and rooms because I just don't have the bombs or keys necessary to go into them. But at least I did get the pact, which is pretty good. And we'll actually see later on I start to get some good stuff. So here's another little vignette. And here we are, the second area of the game, called the caves. So we just finished the basement, which had 2 levels. The caves also have 2. And in fact, every area except for the final area has 2 separate levels to it. So here's a new enemy we haven't seen before, and these are bomb flies. As you can imagine, when you kill them, they blow up. So you can use them as self-chain reactions or kill other enemies. Just be careful not to be near them yourself. And this room layout is quite possibly one of the most annoying because it makes it extremely difficult not to get injured. Unless you're either really lucky or you have some sorting items which make it easier to finish. Those rooms are a real pain in the ass if you're going for the no damage achievements, which are very difficult to get. These guys we're killing here are just basically little mini nukes of flies. They cough up flies, and other than that, they're pretty easy. They'll run away from you if you can hear them. These guys are annoying. The white ones float around and shoot at you, and the red ones just kind of try to charge you. And as you'll see, to the right is a new room. That's the arena. That arena is only available if you have full health. Normally you'll find just a chest inside, sometimes you'll actually find item pickups. The way the arena works is when you go in and you pick up the item, it closes, and you have to fight 3 waves of enemies. Now I decided to go ahead and do this because I was short on bombs and keys, and you'll see I actually got some there, so that was helpful. Normally I skip the arenas unless I actually need something that's inside it, just because with 3 waves, unless you're really good, there's at least a risk of getting hurt. And as you notice, I get hurt a lot, so I typically skip it unless I need something. And here was actually worthwhile because I did get a bomb and a key. And then the coin for beating the room. Now, if you notice that crown room, that's something that, at least in the early game, you have one of on every level. The first level, the treasure room, is always open with no lock, but every level after that, if it has one, you have to use a key to get inside. Now that first item was the razor blade, which is another spacebar item. If you use it, I believe you like peel off the skin of your face, is what it makes you look like, and it increases your damage. I don't remember if it has any other effects. The item it turned into was the real control, which lets you control a missile. It's another spacebar item, not that good. I'm mainly looking for pickups on this run, so that's why I'm leaving those spacebar items. You'll see I got a new tarot card, the High Priestess. It lets you summon Mom's Leg to stomp on your enemies. Here's another new enemy. These are the blood flies. They're filled with blood, and when you kill them, they explode and shoot blood droplets in 4 directions. These guys are actually pretty annoying. They shoot blood in 4 directions as their normal attack, which makes it difficult to attack them without getting injured yourself. once again, you find me looking for the secret room, and once again, I failed. I think I must have wasted like 8 bombs this run so far, already looking for rooms. Normally, you can actually find it on each level pretty easily, so it's definitely worth trying. I've just been having really bad luck. There's the odd mushroom. That one gives you, I think, damage up at the cost of, I think, making you move a little bit slower. But speed's not too important. Damage is king in this game for sure. So, if you notice, Chub is a different color. So, much like the normal enemies you'll find that occasionally are different colors, you can actually randomly run into alternate bosses which are harder. So, if they're colored, they'll be slightly harder than normal. I think the only main difference is that green thing he just laid is it's an enemy type which starts off small and it gets bigger. Once it gets to a certain size, it starts shooting blood everywhere. So they're actually pretty dangerous when they're big. Other than that, I think he functions the same as the normal white chub you'll find. There you go, he sees that green thing shooting some blood. So yeah, occasionally you'll just have to face the harder versions of the bosses. Besides that, there are also alternate bosses, in that they'll have an actual different skin rather than just a recoloring. And those bosses will actually perform differently. They'll have different moves and stuff rather than just being slightly stronger. So it does keep it interesting when you're replaying this game. Because besides the random bosses, even bosses you fought before will often be different. I think when you first start the game, all the alternate bosses are locked, but over time as you beat the game more times and you start finding and beating more bosses, you'll start to unlock the newer, harder versions. In this playthrough, I've actually already unlocked everything, which I just did recently over the weekend. I think it took me maybe around 50 hours or so total. So it's a pretty fun, addicting game. And there's tons to unlock, I think. There's over 100 items, and you start off with like 20 of them unlocked, I believe. And then all the bosses and stuff. So. And once again, we had to skip the item room, or rather the shop, because I just don't have the keys. You'll find this happens a lot in the early game, where you just won't have the bombs and keys to go to everything. It's really frustrating, as you can imagine. If you get lucky with a run and have a lot of bombs and keys, you'll find you usually do a lot better than if you don't. And also, I think I forgot to mention the item I picked from the boss was the pentagram, which gave me horns and turned my tears red. And besides that, it actually gives you more damage. This is one of the bad, or I guess neutral pills. You use it, you drop all of those lit bombs. And as you saw, I managed to hurt myself, even though I knew what was coming. Pills, there's actually some really good pills. There's like pills that will increase your max health, and pills that can increase your damage, or other ones like the bomb one you saw. There are some bad ones that only can hurt you. The one I just found normally will give you a really derpy look on your face, but because I have the pact, it overrides that look. But other than that, though, that pill doesn't do anything. It just changes the way you look. These guys are annoying. When they're down, they're invincible, and then they raise up and shoot triple shot at you. So no matter how much you damage them when their head's down, they won't die. Once again, looking for the secret room, and once again, failing. I think this is the 4th level, and I still haven't found a secret room yet. Normally, you can find them on, well, they are on every level. Normally, you will generally find all of them, or almost all of them, if you try. But, just been having a lot of bad luck this run. And, I think those are new. The blood bomb flies, when you destroy them, they shoot blood everywhere. They're kind of like the smaller ones, except they shoot it in, circular radius instead of just in 4 directions. And if you've been enjoying this video, let me know. I might do some more in the future. There's over 100 items that I mentioned earlier. So the game is different every time you play it, and there's a lot of other things to show off, other bosses, other items. Besides that, also later this month, Wrath of the Lamb is coming out, which is a $3 DLC, which I believe adds something like 100 plus more items, 15 new bosses, 6 new special rooms, I think some new item types. I think trinkets were one of the item types, a new ending, and I think just a bunch of other stuff too, so I'm definitely going to be getting it. I don't know if I'll play it right when it comes out, because it's like a week after Diablo 3, and I'll be busy with that. But I'll probably record another video then if this video gets any interest. And again, looking for a secret room. Finally, I found one. That is a slot machine. They're good, but normally you want to find something better in a secret room. But basically, you can feed it coins and get random effects. Most of them are good. Occasionally, you might get something bad. Probably the only bad ones are spawning a fly, which isn't really a threat to you. And also, you can spawn a lit bomb. Other than that, the good stuff you can get are money, bombs, keys, hearts. You can get pills occasionally. And then also you can, I think I mentioned earlier, you can actually get pretty fly upgrades from these machines. You can get up to 3 of them, which is actually pretty useful for blocking you from getting damage. These machines you can also blow up with a bomb to get using money, keys, or bombs. And over time, eventually the machines will blow up themselves if you use them enough. But probably one of the best things you can get, besides the pretty fly upgrades, would be the dollar bill, I think it is, which gives you 99 coins. Then you can have a lot of money for the rest of the game to buy from shops or use other slot machines. And this pill. It's a new one. I haven't used it yet, so that's why you don't know what it is. And it was a bad one. It lowered my maximum health. And here we go. As I mentioned, the pretty fly upgrade, so it'll just fly around you and block shots if it gets hit. You can have 3 total. It's not too uncommon if you use a lot of mini machines to actually get all 3 upgrades in a single game. And that was another version of the same pill I already had. So I think I'm almost done using it. It's gonna spawn a lit bomb soon and blow itself up in a second or 2. Okay. I could have knocked that bomb out of the way and kept on using the machine, but it already used a lot of coins, so I just figured I'd let it blow it up and hit the things that dropped. And I think now I'm actually heading back to the shop now, or no, never mind. I think that's later. Oh, I'm heading to the item room. That's right. But then I realized I only have 1 key, and if I go into the item room, I won't be able to go into the shop again. So usually shops have keys, not always, but usually you can buy keys inside. So I take the risk to go to the shop, and in hopes that I'll be able to use both rooms. As you see, there's a key over there on sale for 3 coins. So I buy that, and then I also buy the ladder. The ladder is actually a really good pickup in that it lets you walk over 1 square white pits. So not only can you get 2 items you normally would have to use a bomb to get to, or that you normally wouldn't be able to get to. Here you see me demonstrating it. But you can also run from enemies, and in certain room layouts you can actually stay safe, and so you can't even get hurt. And this is a good pickup actually. I forget what it's called, but it makes your bombs homing bombs. Bobby bomb, that's what it's called. So when you put a bomb down, if there are any enemies nearby, it will actually start moving towards the enemy. So that can be helpful, because lots of times when you're using a bomb to attack enemies, the enemy will move pretty fast and you might end up not hitting it, so it does help. And that's actually a good upgrade to get if... And see, here you can see me getting those coins, which normally the only other way to get them would be either flying, or if you used a bomb on those rocks, you could actually blow the rubble into the hole and make a bridge, but that requires using a bomb, so if you have the ladder, it's just much better. Here is a little trick you can use to get by these spike bits. If you want diagonally, you can go in the middle of them without getting hurt. And I'm swapping that pill out because it's that one pill that doesn't do anything. So if you see anything in the little spike bits, just walk diagonally through them. And if you're careful, you will not get injured. If you're flying, you won't need to do this. You can just fly over spikes, but there's not that many items if you're flying, so usually you won't be. So this boss is one of the more annoying ones actually. I usually get injured. But basically, he can jump and shoot those green bullets at you. He can also cover the floor in like acid pee, which makes it so you can't walk there. And when he starts to get injured, his eyes pop out and they're invincible. They just float around and try to run into you. So usually I get hurt a lot by this guy, and you can already see I've got hit several times. I think you also, if you're looking carefully at the bombs, you can see the homing bombs. When I drop them, they kind of gravitate towards him. It's kind of hard to see, but it's not like a dramatic effect, but it does help. I think I was talking earlier about it when I got off track about the ladder, was the bombs. The homing bomb upgrade is actually a good one to combine with certain other upgrades if you get lucky enough to find them. One of the upgrades will actually turn your normal shots into bombs. And then if you have homing bombs, you will now shoot homing bombs out. There's also another upgrade which makes your bombs like super bombs, so you have really big ones that will home. So there's a lot of upgrades which, if you can get them together, are really good. But of course, everything's random, so you have no way of controlling that. And I used that bomb to get back here just to pick up that full health bill from the slot machine earlier. And I think the boss dropped, I forget what he dropped originally, but whatever it was, I didn't want it, so I changed it to the milk, which is just a maximum health up. There's a lot of those items, I think something like 8 or 9 of them. They're pretty useful actually, just because you only have one life in this game, so if you die, that's it. Normally you'd have to use a key to get to the middle, but because I have the ladder, I can just come over here into the slot machine. In this case, I don't have that many coins, so I didn't want to use it. Instead, I just dropped the bomb and got those 4 coins from it. And here are one of the more annoying enemies in the game. They're called Knights. They're invincible from the front. You have to get behind them and hit their exposed brain. So, as you can imagine, they are kind of annoying. If you actually have a piercing upgrade, you can kill them from the front, because your shots will go through. But normally, you just kind of have to try to get up behind them, which can be sometimes a bit difficult, especially in rooms like this, where there's rocks everywhere, and there are other knights trying to kill you. Here's another new enemy. These are... Actually, I don't know what to call them. I'm not really sure what they look like. But as you can see, they roll around other objects, rocks, and pits and stuff. They're pretty easy on their own, but sometimes you will fight them in rooms with other enemy types, and they just kind of serve as an area of effect denial. You don't want to walk in their path. And we've seen these guys before, I haven't really talked about them though, but I think they're called goblins. Basically, they can't be killed in their normal state when they're running around. You have to kill them once, which puts them in that little pile of goo state, and then when they're in the pile of goo state, you can actually permanently kill them. Now, once you've put them in that pile of goo state at least once, it's easier to get them back there, so once you knock them down once, they're pretty easy. It can be a bit tough to actually kill one though, if you have a whole pack of them chasing you, just because you can't sit there long enough to kill it when it's immobile, because the other ones will tend to attack you. I've actually got a couple damage upgrades though, so I can kill them usually quickly enough for it not to be an issue. And I believe the spikes actually do hurt them too, so even though they walk over them, I might be wrong about that, but I think they will injure themselves on the spikes while they're chasing you, so they're not the smartest enemies around. And I couldn't quite remember what that card did, so I just used it, and it's actually a teleport card. It teleports you to the shop, so that saved me a key. And this is a really good upgrade. The inner eye, as you can see, makes my shot split into 3, so I now have 3 times the damage output. So that's actually one of the better upgrades in the entire game. It's definitely a good one to get, especially since I already have damage upgrade. It just they'll just stack with each other. Here, that just gives you 10 bombs. This is actually a pretty good upgrade for what my current setup. It's the chocolate milk. It's a bit annoying in that you can no longer hold down the fire key to shoot bullets. Instead, you have to tap it if you want to shoot rapidly. Because if you hold it down, it actually charges your shots, and you'll see that your shots get really big and do a lot more damage. It's actually really good with this setup because while the triple eye tripled my damage from earlier, this, I'm not sure how much more it does, but when you're charged, it probably like double or something, so, you know, the triple shot tripled my damage, and then if I charge it up, now it's like 6 times the damage I would have had before. So you see I just kind of ripped through that little mini boss guy right there. Also, you can charge up before you move to the next room, which means as soon as you get into a room, you can unleash a charge shot. So depending on the configuration, you might actually be able to just kill everyone like instantly as soon as you enter. So it's pretty good. Like normally, or when I started, I was actually having a pretty slow run in terms of upgrades. But normally when I play, I don't get a setup this good in terms of being able to just damage output. So I've actually gotten pretty lucky, but it's mainly because of the D6. And that's why I've been skipping all the spacebar items, is because, you know, without it, most of the items I did pick up were actually items I only got after I was able to re-roll them. So, you know, if I didn't have it, my run would have been a lot shittier. I would have not had nearly as many good items as I do right now, which is, you know, why I've been skipping all of the spacebar items the whole game, is just so I can get this kind of setup. And that silver coin you saw was in your hole. It's the same as a penny, except you get 5. You get 1. Other than that, there's the quarter, which we already saw. Although that's not a normal item, it actually counts as like a special item, like any of the pickups we've had. And then there's a dollar bill, but I think you can only get that from slot machines. And here, I had actually forgotten what that card did. I didn't realize it teleported you to the boss. So I didn't mean to teleport to the boss right now, but I was. You know, there's actually a really good wiki out there that tells you everything. And right there you saw the homing bomb kind of work in my favor. But you know, I don't always use the wiki. I prefer not to most of the time, just because I find it more fun that way. So some dog food increases your max health. But yeah, so now I'm running back to finish the rooms off that I didn't finish before. Also, this area is the depths. It's the 3rd area. And when you first start the game, the depths 2 is actually the end. You have to beat the boss at the end of the next level, at least once, I believe, before you can unlock the area after that. And we'll see that soon. Those guys I just killed, those little brains, is what they look like. They just run around and drop like acid blood on the ground, and if you walk over you get hurt. And as you can see, the Lust right there, she's really easy normally, but with my upgrades I have, it's just super easy to kill people now. Here's a skeleton key. It gives you 99 keys. It's pretty good. Never run out of keys again after you get it. And Lust actually usually drops a pickup. I think it's called the virus, which isn't really that good because you have to get hurt to use it. But basically, it's when anyone touches you, they get poisoned. So, if you happen to suck like I do, you will get hit a lot. So sometimes it actually can be kind of useful. But you know, it's just not one of the better ones, but it's nice to have just in case something does run into you. You can at least get some damage output out of it. So I think that's it for this level. We'll be moving on to the next one. Another one of the little amusing vignettes. So depths 2. Normally this is oh, okay, right there, the spoon increases your speed, but as you can see, I only have 2 speeds, so it's pretty low, but even so, speed upgrades aren't that good, so I'm gonna wait until my D6 recharges, and come back later to try to change it to something better. As I was saying, this depths 2 is normally the last, or not normally, but when you first start, it is the last level of the game, and you have to beat the boss at the end to unlock the later levels. I think we've seen that variant of Leapers before, but when they land, they simply shoot blood in 4 directions, so they're a bit more dangerous than normal Leapers. Here's a decent upgrade. It's not the best, but basically every X number of enemies you kill will heal you. Like half a heart, I think, so it's not much, but it does help. With that one, you can actually kind of abuse the goblin creatures, the ones that that turn into like a little pile of goo, and when you kill them and when they're running around, because when you actually do that, it does count as a kill. So you can turn them into a pile of goo and let them regenerate, and then kill them repeatedly to heal as much as you want. Actually, it's kind of tedious and it takes a long time. Plus, it's pretty cheap, so I don't do that really. But it is there if you need it. And these enemies, I don't remember if we've seen them this run yet, but they're basically mini gluttonies. We saw Gluttony, he's one of the 7 deadly sins earlier. If they see you, they will open their stomachs and shoot a stream of blood at you. They can actually be kind of dangerous when there's multiple ones in them, because, well, when you're trying to dodge a stream of 1 or 2, you might not even notice that there's that 3rd or 4th one who's just about to shoot at you. So, and these guys, just kind of like use their head as a big ball on the end of a chain, and right there you saw me heal with Trauma the Vampire. Those enemies aren't too bad, but they're a bit interesting in that if you kill their head, their body walks around, and that's actually the ideal situation, because their bodies are pretty much harmless. But if you kill their body first instead of their head will float around and start shooting at you, so then you know, anything that shoots projectiles is a bit harder to dodge than just a simple body walking around, so definitely better to kill their head first if you can. The Hangman, that lets you have flying for a single room. Flying's pretty good, but you know, they're only having it for 1 room is not really that useful, so it's not that great. That card specifically is not that great. If you get a pickup that gives you permanent flying, then that's pretty good. Although in this case I don't really need flying because I have a ladder, but it would still be useful to just dodge enemies and go around rocks and stuff. And here we see 2 special items. The Young Heart is on the left, lets you spacebar him, it lets you heal yourself by I forget how much every couple of rooms. And then that compass I picked up is really good. As you can see, my mini-map is now populated with icons. That basically shows you where every special room on the level is, except for the secret room. There's another item called the map, which will show you every single room without icons, except for the secret room. And that one, the map actually will show you the secret room with an icon on it to let you know where it is. So if you have both, you can, every time you walk onto a level, you'll see everything. It's actually really useful later on because the later levels in the game are really hard. Like you'll see you'll basically be fighting a boss fight almost every single room. So you definitely don't want to have to explore to find the end once you get that far. So it's pretty helpful. There's actually a tarot card which can do that for you too. I think it's called the Sun. Will map out the entire level for you that you're on. And then I think there's also the World, which I think that one like shows you the map and not what is in the rooms. So they're handy. I think I get one later on if I remember correctly. And going back to the compass, it'll show you all the special rooms like the treasure room or the mini boss room. The arena, the shop. One thing it won't show you though, besides the secret rooms, it won't show you any room with any normal room that has something special in it. Occasionally you'll run into rooms that have slot machines or beggars, which we haven't seen yet, or a few other things. And then once you found that, those icons will show up on the minimap. But the compass won't show you those. And those two items right here. The first one was the unicorn horn, which is actually pretty good. I like it. It's a spacebar item, which turns you invincible for like, I don't know, 5 seconds or something. And while you're invincible, you can actually run into enemies and like stab them with your horn, which can do damage. So it's actually pretty good. And the thing is, I didn't pick it up though because again, I'm just looking for passive pickups because I didn't want to give up my D6. The one I turned into though was another spacebar item. I think it was Bob's head. It lets you throw the head at someone and it poisons them. It's not that good. And here, yet again, another spacebar item called Shoop de Whoop, I think. It's one of the crappier ones. It basically just lets you turn your next shot into a laser, but it's only one shot after you use it. So I almost never get that one unless I have nothing else. I mean, if you already have no spacebar item, then it's might as well pick it up because why not? But otherwise, it's not worth it. And unfortunately, you'll see there's not that many rooms left, so I won't be able to charge up my. I can only charge up my my D6 one more time in this level if I use the arena and the boss room. So what I was initially thinking was I would go to the arena and charge it up, so I could go back and. Because I have 2 special items sitting on the ground right now, but I don't want to pick up any of them as simple spacebar items. I was hoping I would be able to finish the boss and pick one up, changing something more useful. What I forgot though was that on this level, you can't actually leave the boss room after you beat her, except to go down to the next level. So there was really no reason for me to go to the arena, because that's the only reason I even came in here was to help recharge my D6, but I forgot that you can't leave the boss room, so it ended up being useless. And that's one of the things that will often make you end up having a crappy run, it's just having to leave items behind. So that's why the D6 is really good. It helps mitigate useless items. Now, normally right now I use the hangman card. Normally, it turns your icon into a headlet, a floating head. But if you have any of the upgrades that turn you black, it'll actually turn you into like a winged demon instead. So it's like a nice little touch. It'll change your aesthetics differently depending on how you already look. See, as I mentioned earlier, it's one of my favorite things in the game is how all the visual changes stack with one another. So as you can see, the black goes from the pact, and then the orange goes from the pentagram. And then that hole on my forehead is from the skeleton key I found. So, it's a bunch of good stuff. And the hanger here is, makes your tears up, which, as you can see, that it's that 3 arrow icon. Mine was at the lowest. Basically, it lets you shoot faster. So since I have the chocolate milk, I actually have to tap to shoot rapidly. But tears up and damage up are both really good, obviously. And earlier, when you saw me use that bomb, I was hoping that maybe there's a secret that would let me leave the room so I could go back and trade one of those other items I left, but, it didn't work. I didn't really think it would, but I already have so many bombs, so I figured it was worth a shot. And here we are is, the womb. Now, when the game first came out, this was actually the last area. You had to unlock it by beating Mom in that previous level. But now you're in Mom's room, and there's like new enemies here, like you'll see parasites and stuff like that, and other weird, kind of scary type enemies. Here's where the game actually starts to get pretty hard. Like, even if you're beating the game a lot and you're really good, you can, here's actually where, you know, it starts to get a bit tough. Like, usually I'll make it past this point, but I do still occasionally die in this area, even though I beat the game like 15 times by now, I think. Now, if you'll notice, the arena rooms, once you get to the room, get a lot harder. Instead of 3 waves of normal enemies, you'll actually have 3 waves of like mini-boss type enemies. So, earlier you saw like a miniature Larry Jr. Here, excuse me, sorry about that. Here is a miniature Chub, and so it makes the arenas a lot less worth it at this point in the game, because they're a lot harder. But, you know, I wanted that golden chest, because sometimes you can get buffs from them. So, unfortunately, all I got were 2 hearts, or a heart and a half, I guess. It's pretty useless. And this was a mini monstro, but there's 2 of them. And as you can see, I'm no longer exploring every room. At this point in the game, I think there are normally no more shops or item rooms. There's still a secret room on every level, but other than that, you'll usually only find arenas and stuff like that, so I usually don't bother exploring. I just try to go straight to the boss, because, like I mentioned earlier, it starts to get pretty hard here. And now that item I picked up is, I think it's only found in secret rooms. It's actually one of the better items in the game. It gives you a second life, because as I mentioned earlier, you know, this game is a hybrid roguelike real-time game, and if you're familiar with roguelikes, you know, when you die, that's it, you're dead. So that mushroom is one of 2 items in the game that actually lets you have more than 1 life. So it's really good. The other item is actually not as good in my opinion. It's rather situational. It's I think it's like Tammy, or it's your dead cat basically. But you get 9 lives like a cat. The problem is it drops your maximum health to 1. And I think you can get above, you can increase your max health again, but every time you die, it just drops it back to 1 again. So if you're really good at not getting hit, it could actually be worth it. But then if you're really good at not getting hit, you probably don't need it. So most of the time, I find it's not worth it. The one exception would maybe be if you're playing as the blue baby, because he has a different mechanic. He has no health to begin with, he only has soul hearts. So for him, I think it's generally the only time I use it, because otherwise I don't think it's worth it. Now, if you look at the mini-map, in the top left corner you'll see a red dice. That is actually a room we haven't seen this run. It is an arcade. It costs 1 coin to get inside, and inside it is a shell game that you have to pay a single coin to play. You can get this random pickups from it. I never played it. It's not really. It takes a long time. It's not really worth it. But you can use a bomb to kill the guy, and he'll drop stuff just like with a slot machine. Besides that, there's also a slot machine inside the arcade and a blood bank. So the slot machines you're seeing, the blood banks, I don't think we have. You can actually donate blood, which damages yourself in exchange for points. And I think if you donate enough blood, you can get the blood bag pickup, which increases your max health by 2. So if you have a lot of healing hearts to nearby to let you heal, it'll definitely be worth it to donate to the blood machine. Not only for the money, but also the chance of getting that blood bag. And of course, you can also blow up the blood machine too. Only it'll drop parts when you do that, but you can sometimes get keys and coins too. And as you notice, a lot of the rooms here have like mini boss fights, or miniature, or bosses you've seen before, miniature versions of them. That's why you generally don't want to explore, just because you're fighting a lot of bosses, and unless you're really good, you're probably going to be getting hurt a lot. So, and once again, you see that diagonal trick you can use to avoid getting damaged by the spikes. That red guy right there, he mirrors your every move, and he only shoots when you do. So, depending on what pickups you have, it can actually be kind of difficult to hit him without hurting yourself. In this case, I just used the key to unlock that top corner, so I could mirror him into the spike pit. Because, I have 99 keys, so why not, right? And here is a beggar. These are actually one of the best places in the game to spend money, other than the shop. And here I was trying to roll the rocks around him, but I accidentally killed him. But if I hadn't killed him, I would have been able to donate money to him 1 coin at a time. And when you're doing that, he will randomly drop pickups like keys and bombs and hearts. But eventually what happens is, once you donate enough money to him, and the amount's random every time, but once you donate enough money, he will give you a pickup, a nice special item pickup. Usually it's a health up item, but sometimes it can be like the map or the compass. So he's actually like the best place to spend money, sometimes even better than the shop. So sometimes you'll get lucky and find like 4 or 5 of them in one run. And if you have enough money, those are always a good way to spend it. And here's what used to be the final boss of the game, after you unlock them, Mom's Heart. And that, I think around Halloween, I think for Halloween of last year, there was a big update which added 1 level after this, which we will see in a moment. But this fight's actually not that hard. A lot of people think the boss at the end of the depths, the first time you fight Bomb is a lot harder. I think both of them are actually pretty easy though, so. I mean, when you're first playing the game, they can actually be tough. I remember it took me, I don't know, a number of tries before I finally beat either of these bosses for the first time, but once you play it a bunch, it's not that difficult. And also it helps that I have some really good pickups this game too. But after the Halloween update, once you beat this boss 10 times, I think it was 10 times anyway, you unlocked the last, and this is the final level, at least until after the Lamb DLC comes out. And basically you're in Sheol, which is, well, I'm not sure of the mythology behind it, but from the boss fight, and it's basically hell. And here, as you can see, basically every single room in this level is a boss fight room. So here I'm actually fighting Sloth, which I think we saw earlier in the level, except there's 2 of them. So pretty much every level like that, or every room is like that on this level. So it's really, a lot of times you'll die before you even get to the final boss, just because of how hard it is. So, and there's a health machine, which I mentioned earlier, although right now I don't have that much health, and there's not going to be that many health pickups on this level, just because I'm not going to fight that many enemies, so it's not worth it at this point. I think I just blow it up. But if you find those earlier in the game, they're really useful. But right now, I need all my health, so I'm just making a beeline straight for the boss, or at least where I think the boss is. But, I'm screwing pretty badly here. I think I just lost like 3 hearts or something, so it's not looking good for me. And this level actually does still have the secret room too. Every level has one, so that's why I'm looking for it right now. I'm not going to go exploring for it, but and here I'm actually laying a second bomb just because I accidentally knocked the first bomb away from the wall, so I don't think it was close enough to reveal the secret room if it was there. So, I'm not going to go, as I say, I'm not going to go exploring on this level because of how hard it is. Like, here's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which I don't think we actually fought any of them as normal bosses, but in each area, up to the womb, I think, on the second level, I think you can fight one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I think it goes like famine, there's famine, war, death, and I think pestilence. But that was pestilence earlier. And here you actually saw me die, but because I had that green mushroom one up, I managed to resurrect. So, it's just, like I said, it's a really good item, because I resurrect with everything, I don't lose anything. But now this is my final life. If I die again, I'm dead. But you kind of saw what I mentioned earlier about how every level is a boss fight, or every room is a boss fight here. So, and this is actually another one of those mirroring guys, except he's a lot harder. Here I just mirror him into a wall. And you may have noticed I'm getting green clones. Green, when he hits you, makes you drop money. Normally, the only place you'll find him is either in a secret room or in a shop, uh, which makes it really annoying because normally you're hoping to get some items there, but instead you fight a boss. He's not too hard, but if he hits you, he makes you drop money, and then when you beat him, he drops a lot of money usually, or sometimes the bag of pennies, which will occasionally just drop pennies. And here's the final boss of the game. As you saw in Satan, he does pretty hard. He has 3 forms. His first form, he summons a little minion. And here, what I used right there, I think, was my tarot card, which is Horde Babylon. And, right, I mean, the tarot card's my card though, but the effect is, I think I was already at, like, max damage, but the Horde Babylon actually lets you go above, I think it's like a damage multiplier. So you can actually go above like max damage. So as you can see, my charge of shots are really massive, and the fact that I'm taking away like a third of Satan's health every hit is not normal. It's just because I have triple shot, I have max damage, I have the charging, and then I have this. So I'm doing way more damage than normal, probably like 10 times or so above what I normally would. And sadly I died. That was actually Satan's last form. He has 3 forms.